So what do I mean when I say I grew up in 5.1 cults? How can you be a member of a church but still be drawn into a cult with inside the church? And I started this project a year ago and I've forgotten what 3 and 4 are, so I'm going to replace them. So there are those who believe that the Bible is encoded with Bible numerics and that all the values prove that the Bible was written by God by doing all the mathematics and all this. It's all a lot of junk, but there are Christians who believe in this and there are Christians who don't. Chuck Missler was a big believer and finding codes hidden within the Bible. The Genesis one is the most well known, the Bible code. So this is the book that inspired Chuck Missler to write his version. And I've got, because it's me, I collect different copies of the exact same book because I just can't live any other way. So let's call cult number 1 Bible Numerics. Cult number 2 is now that I'm out of this one, it's a very, very, very small minority within the Christian church. Young Earth Creationism, they have to deny that Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Australopithecus afarensis even existed. In fact, I've got a chick track which basically makes up its own fables about how they're all hoaxes and of the devil and stuff. So, as Professor Dave calls this cult, anti-science. They're not just anti-factual, but they're anti-science. You will never find a single fact in any of their literature. And because I grew up in these cults decades ago, I've still got the videotapes, cassette tapes, and all of that. Skeptics versus creationists. I bought all of these at Ken Ham's. Wherever Ken Ham was speaking in the country, I would follow him around like I was a devotee, as Carol Matriciana would say. So, the lie evolution, that's the Bible of cult number 2. Actually, the truth is that this is the Bible of Young Earth Creationism. The Genesis Record by Dr. Henry Morris. 1976 this was published. So there's a whole alternative history to the history of planet Earth. The Egyptian dynasties, the Mesopotamian dynasties, Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, everything that happened in history around and before the Bible times has a whole nother anti-factual version in this book, and all the followers of this book. And if 37% of Americans believe in Young Earth Creationism, then 37%, that's 100 million people, have an alternative history as to the dynasties of Egypt and the founding father, because according to this book, the founding father of Egypt was obviously Mitzrayim, because it's the word Mitzrayim in the Hebrew language, therefore that's proof. And God created the heavens on the earth on October the 23rd, 4004 BC at 9 a.m. That's how scientific these books are. So that's cult number 2 is Yek. So cult number 3, we're going to call this Healing Evangelists. And here is the cure for depression and anxiety. You don't need a doctor. You don't need a psychoanalyst, a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. You just need to read these scriptures and repeat the scriptures, and your anxiety and depression will go away. I've destroyed my whole Robert's Liardon collection, so this is all I've got left of Smith Wigglesworth, Jack Coe, Amy Semple McPherson, Dr. Dowie, and all the others. I believed that through those videotapes, God was going to call me as the next A.A. Allen or Smith Wigglesworth, and I didn't live my life because I believed that I was just waiting for the calling from God. So that destroyed my life. Number 3. Number 4, my favorite, everything is evil. Why Satan hates our kids. Wicca is evil. They're using fetuses of babies to make makeup with. Harry Potter is satanic, and if you read his books, you'll be drawn into the occult and go to hell. And of course, all the big main 7 fake. I used to be a Satanist high priest. Obviously, Mike Wonky and Bill Snivlin were both buddies with Anton Svendeleve, and they got out of Satanism through the grace of God, and for many years they were worshipped by Christians as, wow, you've come out of Satanism, that's amazing, we're going to pour money into your pockets. And then they turned out to be completely false. 5 is obviously end times. I survived 3 or more end of the worlds. So Christ forgot to return in 2000. He forgot to return in 1980. He forgot to return in 25th of April 1982. Christ forgot to return. The world has had enough of hunger, injustice and war in answer to our call for help. As world teacher for all humanity, the Christ is now here. How will we recognize him? Well, we didn't, because he never showed up. So, cult number 5, end of the world. The late great planet Earth, Hal Lindsey. And the point one was because I only was in this cult for 3 days through the internet. The joke, well, it's not a joke, is it? I seriously question whether I should throw all my Greek and Hebrew and Latin textbooks, dictionaries, lectionaries, whatever, interlinears, the whole thousands and thousands of dollars of books. For 3 days I thought about throwing them all away and reading only the King James Bible, because the NIV, NASB, New King James, NRSV, NIV, blah 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 blah, they're all demonic. They're written by Satan himself. So if you're a Christian and you read those Bibles, you probably, well, they did say you lose your salvation. So the only way to get saved once you've read a modern Bible is to go back to the King James. So James White, Dr. James White, I think he's a doctor. Luckily I stumbled across James White's debunking of this book, but he got me out of it, and he got me in deeper into Erasmus's, the Greek New Text, the Greek New Testament, Desiderius Erasmus, the Biblica Hebraica Stuttgartensia, the Aleppo Codex, the Alexandrian Codex, this Codex Sinaiticus, this Codex Vaticanus. He got me much deeper in with the language. So I've left the cults, I've left all 5.1 cults, I've left the entire religion itself now, but I'm still working with the languages, because outside of the Bible they still have meanings. There still are facts to learn outside of the Bible. There are only facts in the Bible, but spending all those years learning Greek and Hebrew to pick apart the Bible, I don't need to do that anymore. We're going to focus on the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Hammurabi, Laws of Hammurabi and stuff like that. And it's just a story of how all this writing, these old languages were cracked, as Irving Finkel doesn't like to say, by people that worked their ass off decoding every letter one by one. Incredible. Yep, so we're starting with Egypt. Temples, tombs, and hieroglyphics.